ꯃꯔꯨꯝꯒ ꯃꯔꯤ ꯂꯩꯅꯅ AIR IMPHALꯅ ꯑꯈꯟꯅꯅ ꯁꯤꯟꯖꯔꯤꯕ ꯊꯧꯔꯝ ꯑꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯨꯗꯤꯑꯣꯗ ꯂꯦꯡꯁꯤꯟꯗꯨꯅ ꯂꯩꯕꯤꯔꯤꯕ ꯑꯦꯛꯁꯄꯔꯠ ꯑꯁꯤꯅ ꯗꯣꯛꯇꯔ ꯏꯅꯥꯎ ꯁꯤꯡ, ꯑꯦꯁꯣꯁꯤꯌꯦꯠ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯐꯦꯁꯔ, ꯗꯤꯄꯥꯔꯠꯃꯦꯟ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯁꯥꯏꯀꯤꯌꯥꯇ꯭ꯔꯤ, ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔ ꯃꯦꯗꯤꯀꯦꯜ ꯏꯟꯁꯇꯤꯇ꯭ꯌꯨꯠ, ꯈꯟꯅ ꯂꯩꯅꯒꯗꯧꯔꯤꯕ ꯍꯤꯔꯝꯅ ꯄꯨꯛꯅꯤꯡ ꯋꯥꯈꯜꯒꯤ ꯑꯅꯥꯕ ꯑꯃꯁꯨꯡ ꯍꯛꯁꯦꯜ.
ꯏꯁꯩ ꯇꯥꯒꯦ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯄꯨꯛꯅꯤꯡ ꯋꯥꯈꯜꯒꯤ ꯑꯅꯥꯕ. ꯄꯨꯛꯅꯤꯡ ꯋꯥꯈꯜꯒꯤ ꯑꯅꯥꯕꯕꯨ ꯑꯅꯥꯕꯔꯍꯦ. ꯏꯁꯥ ꯏꯎ ꯑꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯐꯔꯤꯕ ꯑꯩꯉꯣꯟꯗꯕꯨ ꯀꯅꯥꯅ ꯅꯥꯖꯔꯨꯗꯣꯏꯅꯣ? ꯀꯩꯁꯨ ꯇꯧꯗꯦꯗ. ꯏꯆꯥꯅ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛ ꯄꯥꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯣꯟꯊꯣꯛꯅ ꯌꯦꯡꯕ ꯅꯨꯡꯉꯥꯏꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ. ꯏꯃꯥꯗꯤ ꯄꯨꯛꯅꯤꯡꯕꯨ ꯅꯨꯡꯁꯤꯔꯛꯏꯗ. ꯄꯩꯁꯥꯒꯤ ꯋꯥꯒ ꯑꯃꯨꯛꯇ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯛꯈꯤꯅꯨꯀꯣ. ꯑꯩꯅ ꯅꯪꯕꯨ ꯃꯣꯅꯥꯗꯒꯤ ꯀꯔꯤ ꯀꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯈꯔ ꯂꯧꯔꯒ ꯄꯥꯎ ꯈꯣꯠꯂꯨꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯗ꯭ꯔꯣ? ꯃꯥꯗꯤ ꯄꯤꯔꯛꯀꯅꯤꯌꯦ. ꯃꯃꯥ ꯁꯛꯇꯥꯗꯨꯒ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯨꯔꯕꯗꯤ ꯃꯆꯥꯅꯨꯄꯤꯗꯣ ꯑꯣꯟꯊꯣꯛꯅ ꯅꯨꯡꯁꯤꯖꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯑꯩꯗꯤ. ꯑꯄꯪꯕꯤꯁꯤꯗꯤ. ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯕꯨ ꯅꯪ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛ ꯐꯅ ꯍꯧꯔꯛꯄꯅꯤ. ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛꯇꯨꯗ ꯄꯥꯎ. ꯀꯔꯤ ꯏꯔꯥꯡ ꯐꯂꯥꯡ ꯆꯪꯕ ꯌꯥꯗꯦꯀꯣ. ꯗꯣꯛꯇꯔ ꯑꯣꯏꯗꯕ ꯌꯥꯗꯕꯅꯤ. ꯌꯦꯡꯉꯣꯏ ꯅꯪꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯡ ꯃꯃꯥꯡꯗ ꯗꯥꯛꯇꯔ ꯀꯥꯏꯗꯣ ꯍꯥꯞꯄꯗꯅ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯕ ꯀꯩꯔꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯃꯥꯡꯗ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯉꯛꯁꯦ ꯊꯦꯛꯀꯠꯇꯅ ꯆꯠꯇꯣꯔꯤꯕ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ. ꯍꯥꯏ, ꯀꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯍꯧꯕ ꯂꯦꯝꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯕꯣ? ꯍꯣ, ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛ ꯍꯩꯇꯕꯤ ꯅꯃꯥ ꯑꯩꯁꯨꯅꯦ. ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯃꯥꯡꯁꯤꯗ ꯅꯪꯅ ꯗꯥꯛꯇꯔ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯒ ꯁꯥꯒꯗꯕ ꯁꯅꯥ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯨꯗꯤ ꯈꯜꯂꯣꯗꯅ. ꯍꯣ, ꯐꯔꯦ ꯐꯔꯦ. ꯑꯣ, ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛꯇꯨꯗ ꯄꯥꯎ. ꯄꯨꯛꯅꯤꯡ ꯆꯪꯅꯗ ꯄꯥꯎꯀꯣ.
Jagi kari siang lagi. Pare. Bekhada ya bisnu dana. Era, angang manga bathapak ya nasu taksalunu. Lailai suponumnu. Allah. Morning Saturday. Jagi horin halakpata kari lero hai mano. Hoi nang yang pamjabado lera lori dana. Yare da mama. Angang ko ko ta ni mama ta dana. Iyo stige se.
ꯈꯪꯗꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯄꯣꯛꯅꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗꯒꯤ ꯗꯣꯛꯇꯔ ꯇꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯄꯥꯝꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯩ ꯍꯣꯠꯇꯤ ꯍꯣꯠꯅꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯅꯦ ꯈꯪꯉꯕ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯇꯤꯝꯗ ꯇꯨꯝꯍꯟꯗꯗꯤ ꯈꯪꯗꯦꯗ ꯚꯥꯏ ꯑꯩꯁꯨꯅꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯚꯥꯏ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯈꯪꯉꯕ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯅꯍꯥꯟ ꯃꯣꯏꯒ ꯁꯤꯝꯇꯣꯝꯁ ꯈꯔ ꯌꯦꯡꯉꯦꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯣ ꯑꯦꯟꯖꯥꯏꯇꯤ ꯑꯦꯇꯦꯛꯅꯤ ꯀꯥꯏꯁꯨ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯦꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯛꯇꯦ ꯅꯪꯁꯨ
globalization, social media na matanda. Apa personality kaya masu form sige matanda kwata na bahur. Sida kali sintai na ngai late. Mental illness, mental health ki matanda lai na stigma. Ako'y punna tugay na bana thaga jana khale. Kritika. Ay si mama amin. Bicara di pada bana to. Ako'y na mama se. Khala hagda mi kutta. Hey, ko na na ko da bana to. Tawo ko. Nang na mama di ay na ke ko to. Ato फायदे खाबा नहीं 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 खाबा खाबा नहीं नहीं kritika ini adolescent makai ini lagi mana boleh फायदे ini तो मतलब I think we need to be more responsible यार इधर यहाँ से तक चलो से माना खाओ इधर ऐसे संगे
시기야.
ꯌꯥꯝ ꯅꯨꯡꯉꯥꯏꯖꯔꯒꯦ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯌꯧꯖꯈ꯭ꯔꯒꯦ
माने डॉक्टर माने संति के पाव होने से रे माने कब यादी नहीं चला चला मुझे
Cara apa ni?
That was such a wonderful performance from the students of Department of Psychology. A big round of applause for them, please. Moving on, we have come to the most important part of today's event, that is, we'll be having the speech competition. As the first contender, may I have the pleasure to call upon Malinganbi Khaidem from Jenims to deliver the first speech, please.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. A very good afternoon to respected judges. Today is the 10th of October 2022, and I am Malangan Bikhaydem, representing Jenims, IMPHAL. Today is, we are all gathered here to observe World Mental Health Day. And the theme, which is making mental health and well-being for all a global priority. This theme was given by World Federation for Mental Health. And we observe this World Mental Health Day because our mental health is very important. It is one of the biggest health issue of our era, of our age, but then it is very much ignored and people are less aware of this problem for mental health. According to the theme, we have making mental health and well-being for all a global priority. Why is this mental health we need it to be a global priority? For that, we shall step into it step by step. First of all, let's know what mental health is. Let's know what well-being is and why it should be known as a global priority. Mental health, what is it? Mental health is the state of being one state of mental being because due to one person's emotional state, emotional thoughts, habits, and social well-being. Mental health has a lot of aspects. All of us, mental health issue, stress, mental health important. It determines how we think, it determines how we cope with stress, it determines how we go on with our everyday life. And let us know what well-being is. Well-being has a very, very simple term. It means the state of being happy, healthy, and in a wellness mode. So this well-being is very much necessary to stay happy, right? It is a state of healthiness, which is due to accumulation of our thoughts, our habits, our emotions. All of it accumulates to bring us into a state of well-being. So mental health, well-being, si se yang maru oiba, adu kai ginoba, adu khanara se. Mental health se mental health disorders mayam lai se khangba ma mathau tai. There are a lot of mental health disorders or illnesses. It can be they are broadly classified into like anxiety, due to anxiety problems laiba, then mood disorders, then there's problems due to eating disorders, and then psychotic disorders like schizophrenia, which is a very serious problem. As Sir Lenin haibirambagi matungina aikoi schizophrenia city worldwide on a 10% of population haidi adum normal average oiba. But Manipur da 2016 gi survey gi matungina Manipur da di mental health illness labor se 13.6% neba, but India the average oina di 10% oidoi neba. So mental health se Manipur da na hena kamaina kidang heali se maram se khadi layam ganeba. One very big issue is that mental health ki issue problem am se tholak pa issue me am malayeba, but one very big issue hai tadi employment and unemployment sineba. Those who are employed feel more safe and sound. Especially during this COVID-19, this particular theme was chosen by the World Federation for Mental Health. The particularly to highlight the effects that the inequalities especially of employment and unemployment exposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. This COVID-19 pandemic has exposed a lot of problems and caused a lot of mental health problems. UK the survey twice the people who are unemployed are more stressed. They are more they don't know how to cope with the pandemic than those who are employed. So employment unemployment problems students marakta hairagana exam stress and then relationship stress also sigi stress mayam sina su mental health and well-being sida disturb taweba. Then sigi mental health issue and state of well-being the laina by the magta mental health se yamna yamna aphaba state amada laigadam in a good, it should be in a good state. As Sir Lenin ngasai ayukta ngasai manazu haibirambay matungina mental health is dynamic. It is not static. Haibidi I isamag say I may be in a good mental health state or I may be in a bad mental health state according to what circumstance I am in right now. Right now I'm standing here in this podium, so I feel a little stressed. So my mental health is, I won't say it's bad, but I'm a bit stressed, so it's obvious. And then mental health. So this one main problem say I say that we are not aware of our the mental health issues. I na lairaga di laire su khangzadaba adu lairaga I say Canada approach so doino su phasana khangdaba approach so matang da su doctor de approach so doine khangma matam da adu erga su haidi stigma taboos mayam lairiba. Like for example, if I go to a psychiatrist, people may label me as a madman, so I'm scared of that. And then if I can't hang out with my friends properly due to say an anxiety disorder like social anxiety, then people may label me as not being normal, right? But all these issues, they're normal, they're very much normal. It happens to all of us in some form or the other, and we have to address them. We have to approach the right person, the doctors, the psychiatrists, to help us. And one very important point I want to highlight here is that COVID-19 pandemic se thok padagi prithvi se worldwide oina mental health se yam handareba. Like according to World Health Organization, greater than 25% of anxiety and depressive disorders have been increased due to the pandemic. Some people who are not employed, who don't have white-collar jobs, they are forced to work. But pandemic later, no one works, no one goes out in the streets. So if no one goes out on the streets, then how will they make food? This is a very big issue. And on top of that, COVID-19 suffered a missing say. They also have post-traumatic stress disorders. I highlight tauza hidaba huzik taugena. Anxiety disorders may as mental illness anxiety disorders the example the OCD. We can see we must have encountered it among our friends also, maybe among ourselves also. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. What happens during obsessive compulsive disorder? Obsessive compulsive disorder, the example, we washing hands we want to wash our hands again and again. We feel that our hands are dirty, they're impure. Even if we wash our hands again and again, they're repetitive thoughts. They intrude our mind. Intrude our repetitive recurrent thoughts. They intrude our mind and they tell us that this is bad. We have to wash our hand again and again. They alter our behavior. OCD amalay. Then panic attacks. When we have panic attacks, where stress anxious panic attack the physical symptoms example heart attacks, palpitations, then shortness of breath, and then even panic attacks. This is an anxiety disorder. Then social anxiety in social situations we feel insecure. We feel very much insecure and we are not able to cope with the social situation, and anxiety so see anxiety disorders ma'am like that. So these disorders we should be aware of it. First of all, what we need to do is we need to know why they are important. They are they should be made a global priority because they are important. They are very much a health problem as much as heart attacks, cancers, etc. So we should be first aware. Aduga aikogi friends, family, close friends, awareness and then we should let them know what we should take up if we have a mental illness. And mentally ill person amada kamaina approach to gani haibasisu khangadamne yamna soft oina loina gadabane aikoi isamaksu included. Self-love is very important, and let us all aim to have a good mental health. Let us all support each other, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you, Malinganbi. That was a wonderful speech. Now, moving on, may I have the pleasure to call upon Melody Tingaineng Limhoy from okay. May I have the pleasure to call upon Melody Tingainem Lenghoy. A big round of applause for Melody, everyone. Okay. May I request the contenders to please deliver the speech within 5 minutes, and we'll be giving the warning time from 4 minutes onwards.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I feel blessed and happy to stand in front of you all to share my thoughts and speech about mental health. And in my speech, I'm going to share about some of my experience in my how to cope up with mental health. And when we talk about mental health, the first thing that comes in our mind is an old saying which goes like this, like health is wealth, which is, I mean, we all are much aware of that saying, but for today, the theme, I'm going to go with the theme that globally held, which is mental health in an unequal world. That means that our mental health is very important issues that which, many of us are neglecting today. And in an equal world means, as we know, India is a leading poverty in a country with leading poverty. With all this poverty, with socio-economic disadvantage, as well as unequal opportunities for the poor and the rich person in this country had led to many stress level has rise up, and of course our parents and us ourselves who has always thinking of our jobs and on getting to be employed in a company or in a such government job, which led us to have a stress, depression. When we can't fulfill all of that, our last attempt is a suicide. In the last recent years, India is also a leading country with a suicidal cases in the world. And when we talk about mental health, simply mental health or mental illness is all about having a disturbing mind. A disturbing mind, and for a long time the emphasis has laid importance only in a physical well-being. But in a recent times, the word mental health has reached the radar of our awareness, and by simply we mean a true happiness of a person depends in himself. And as for our society, as per the research, a person from the age of 14 to 40 years have high chance to have a mental stress or a mental illness, which they can't cope up with. Yes, other age group has also a very common mental illness, but they are not most likely to get stressed over that much comparing to that particular age. As for our society, as we are living in a conservative society as well as a conservative family, we all know what it is being brought up to be like in a conservative family. We're not allowed to speak up our minds or our passion in whatever it is. And when we try to speak up our minds or share our thoughts, they see us a black sheep in the family, which always complain about little things which they can't provide. And when our parents neglect their responsibility to understand us, which always led us to have a mental illness, and most of the youths are the victim of this. And the youths, when the youths have a mental stress, they to get their own comfort and their fake imaginary scenario that they want to be in their life, they sadly they always are in a drug abuse, or their last attempt would be a suicide. So in our society, the elderly does not understand this mental illness very well. They believe that mental illness is an individual problem. So let us all combat together to change the outlook of this mental illness today. And it does not cost any penny, or it does not cost anything to us to spread awareness to the uneducated masses, or it does not cost anything, it does not cost us anything to lend ears or to give a warm hug to someone who needs help. And also, last but not the least, mental health, how to cope up with mental illness depend individually. Basic workouts like yoga, exercise, or reading our own holy books, which will help us mentally and spiritually. So our basic efforts will improve our mental health, and which will make it global priorities. First, it depends in ourselves. And let's pick up our minds towards. So, to see a psychiatrist, it is very expensive, but instead of seeing a psychiatrist, I advise all of you to cope up with your parents, connected to your parents, share all of your thoughts, which will be very helpful to us. Thank you.
That was such a wonderful speech from Melody from Dhanamandari University. As we proceed, as the next contender, may I have the pleasure to call upon N.G. Jingsol from Manipur University Geology Department. And an announcement, please. I would like all the participants, all the contenders, to deliver their speech within 5 minutes, after which there would be marked deduction, and the warning bell would be given at exactly 4 minutes, and then at 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Good morning, dear respected judges, my dear fellow friends, and everyone present here. Today, I am more than grateful to have this opportunity to speak on the topic of mental health and well-being for all as a global priority. According to a survey conducted by Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation in the year 2017, 792 million people suffer from mental health disorder. Globally, 8 lakhs people committed suicide every year, which is hauntingly a great number. And it is no mystery that our society pay ever less heed to this disorder until recently. The thing is, we can break down mental health disorder into the simplest form to the most traumatizing, severe problems. And starting from the simplest form, it can come from living in a very judgmental society where we compare each other or judge people according to the way they dress or the way they look, or we can even judge them according to the way they think. This may be a little thing to us by speaking about how people look or judging in every little thing they do, but the thing is, this little thing, they can ignite fire and cause wildfire within themselves, which can eventually lead them to committing suicides. Talking about social media, this topic is not something which is very alien to all of us. The thing is, we spend our time scrolling through social media hours and hours, day in, day out. We start comparing to ourselves to the things we see in screens, not just look-wise, but even in lifestyle. And this kind of thing, when it really hits to our core, it is very toxic, and in severe cases, it causes many mental illnesses in youths, not only in youths, but even in older people, and eventually leads to committing suicides. And talking about severe problems of mental disorders, it may be caused from abusive parents or abusive people who are surrounding us, and we have the tendency to judge people according to their past mistakes. We always remind them how they are unworthy or how they can't do things right. And this little thing, since it is instilled in their heart, they make themselves believe that they are not strong enough or they're not good enough as much as other people are. So, if we look into this matter, it is actually our words which really cause mental health disorders in other people. Because when we look into our own words and be a little bit considerate in the words that we use, we can drastically decrease the number of mental health disorders or the number of people committing suicide, not just national-wise, but globally. And the victims who are suffering from these disorders, we tend to treat them so insignificantly that they are scared to speak out of them, to speak for themselves, or there is fear in them to show up because they are scared of being judged by society, that they may not fit in, or they may be the odd one out. So they mask it up. They mask the way they truly feels about themselves. They are scared to talk to their parents or friends. And there is no way we are approaching psychiatrists. And this eventually leads to increasing in the number of more youths suffering from mental health disorder. And when we come to other diseases like cancers, AIDS, or just mild diseases like headaches and stomach aches, we consult the best doctors, go to the best hospitals to get the best medication we can get. But when someone is talking about mental health disorder, we treat it so normally that we don't even consider it as a disease comparing to other physical disease. We are so unaware that mental health disorder is as much important as physical health. We try our best to look good, we go to the gym, we notice the little breakouts and acne we have on our faces, but when it comes to our mental health, we pay no heed, we treat it so normally until we reach the point that we bottle it up so much that when we can't contain ourselves anymore, it leads to fatal. And the thing is, it is not impossible to treat mental health disorder. We can always try our best.
Time's up.
Okay, thank you.
Five seconds extra was given to the contender because one of our organizers just arranged the mic and she lost and she was like distracted. So, okay, moving on. As the next contender, may I have the pleasure to call upon NG Jingsol, hailing from Lady Keane College, Ceylon. Is she present? Okay, that was an error. The current, just now, NG Zingsol has given the speech. My bad. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Okay, moving on, we have Wahangbam Angeline. May I have the pleasure to call upon Wahangbam Angeline from Lady Keane College, Ceylon. Meanwhile, may I request Amutoy Morangtem to be prepared for the next.
I'm sorry. Good afternoon to the esteemed members of the jury and all my friends present here. This is Angeline Wahangbam, and I'm a pass-out student from Lady Keane College, Shillong. Today, I'm here to present a short speech on the topic, Making Mental Health and Well-being for All a Global Priority, on the observance of World's Mental Health Day 2022. Health is a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just merely the absence of diseases or infirmity. There can be no health without mental health. Mental health is very much important in living a stable and healthy life. It impacts the way we think, feel, and behave every day. Our mental health also impacts our decision-making procedure, how we deal with stress, and how we connect with others in our lives. Being as healthy as possible is your right. You could even take one step further and say that your health is your responsibility. Mind is one of the most powerful organs that regulates the functioning of all other organs in the body. A person with a strong mind is able to adapt itself to the changes in life. Good mental health equips people to effectively deal with stress and maintain stability in relationships. Students with healthy mind are able to cope up with academic stress. Their mind is strong and capable enough to face fierce competition and succeed in realizing their goals. Mental illness leads to mental illness leads to mental illness leads to weakening of your thinking ability, then your emotion, your energy, and your behavior. This illness will make you, I'm sorry.
You don't need to worry, Angeline. That was indeed a wonderful speech. You at least tried. Thank you. Now, moving on, may I have the pleasure to call upon Amutoy Morangtem from ITM University, Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh.
Few days back, I came across a video on internet where a 16-year-old girl was sharing her depression story. That shocked me. She was just 16. How can I just imagine myself, like, how can a 16-year girl can feel that, that At that point of age, she should be enjoying her life with friends, with family and friends. But she is sharing her depression story, and that video really shocked me. And this asks ourselves a question: why are today's youth unhappy? Gasi karigidamata angangshingsina inkhalagliba angangsingda hena depression gumba anxiety gumba lena si karigidamata laglibra habasi achauba question ama koi society da hang. Well, before diving into that, let me introduce myself. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen present here, the respected jury members, fellow contestants, and everyone present here. My name is Amuthoy Morangcham. I'm doing graduation in agriculture from ITM University, Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. First of all, I would like to thank Department of Psychology, Manipur University for taking the initiative to organize this speech competition, bringing to our attention the very theme of making mental health and well-being for all a global priority. Thank you so much, Department of Psychology, Manipur University. Okay, so before diving into that, I would like to give an explanation about what actually is mental health. According to World Health Organization, mental health is a concept World Health Organization a state of well-being in which individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and lastly, is able to make contribution to his or her society. Madudi masum na hai madudi akhoi miyoi ba amana masagi potential masagi taubangamba do asi taubangamba haibadu lepcha bangamba amasung mahakna nongmagi kangna thengnari ba akhoi stress haibasi miyoi bagi is like life is not a bed of roses akhoi nong kangna dam problem macham cha thiba ising yage khanbasu ngaktang phone laksalapugumba chakcha ge tenga das macham yam phangri ba. So life is not a bed of roses. We encounter so many problems. Asi problems mayam adum macha acha chuba mayam thengni je ko adu thengnaba mayam se koina kop tobangam daba adum kainom khallaga nuaitana ungaga leiba asigumba singsi ngamaktraba adagi ahum shubadana akogi productively work tongam daba haibadi isa phaba so gym chatpa yai ba. I might go to gym, I may have bumps of muscles mayam leiba yai ba ko adu ai thabak ado pangal thona tobangam daba kanam ta kem chalaga haiza bangam daba adu so adu ngamdraga so koi haksang fana baraga, so that's not a proper sign of that we are having a healthy mental health. Aduna asigumba factors prepare lastly World Health Organization assume na thambi madudi is able to make a contribution to his or her society habeneba haibidi aina thabak taw aina kinong ka tawbaduna agi society da contribute tawbangamba samna habada khoina lambi da chatliba angawba ko khatang angawba mak pandraga su ko khatang wakhal chuereba mi singna koi society da contribute tawbangam because khoina haiba ma se mirim ni ma se kem tawbam de kana ba de aduna factors ma'am se ponsa laga aina mental health now coming to the topic, make mental health and well-being for a global priority. Why we should make it a global priority? Karigidamata priority pigadabano haibasi akoi kopna khangjan mamathau taiba aduna asi hangakpa matamda that directs to one more question, that why mental health is important, why does it matters? Mental health ki importance aduki matik yamna laikre, and akoi gi mamang da chief guest na adagi ma'am resource person ma'am haibikre ba. I am a student and I am totally different from this field ko. I am a student from agriculture, so akoi na commonly I points kar samjake why mental health is important. The first thing is that mental health is related to our physical health. Physical health haibasi ki maramdi akoi na wakhal nungai tragati hakchang kaidungai da sunungai bangam mo aduna wakhal nungai tragati hakchang nungai bangam loi aduga akoi psychologically emotionally myam interact to bangam oi socially sumana chaiting pirakani health akoi gi health tasu physical health tasu chaiting pirakani amasung akoi productivity se decrease togone ba. Someone with mental health cannot perform well ko angang do oigera ahan do oigera every stage of life akoi na mental health sibu phatragadi akoi work to bangam time so chakre the khatang tense jarke. Then one more important point which I would like to keep is why we should give it a priority. Priority se asiki damta pikoni because akoi na mental health na re hena khanjar matam dasu akoi gi akoi chatpa akoi haidok pangam deba akoi ma'am thamoi nung da phumjalaga thameba, and where it ironically it's more easier to say that my tooth is aching or agi stomach na habani hela agi thamoi kai haibadagi su agi khong nai khut nai haibasan hena koi comfortable ba. While saying this akoi yamna haidok mi na ikai ra kani stigmatized ba. So mental health, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amutoy. That was such a wonderful speech, a powerful one indeed. So, moving on, may I have the pleasure to call upon Angela Razak to deliver her speech. She is from Department of Economics, Manipur University. Meanwhile, may I request Lamnganba Yumnam to be prepared. He is from Johnston Higher Secondary School.
Ahanba maktada mafam asibu konbiri ishorbu thamoida thamjaraga mangda lengshinbiriba ozasing ikok thongbasing amadi agi ichininaw singbu Angela Rajak Economics Department of Economics ki maikaidagi koknona khurumjari ngasi 10 October 2022 World Mental Health Day ga mari lainana making mental health and well-being for all a global priority haiba hiramasida isagi oiba on experience haigadra khazikak thamjage akoina piklingai dagi nursery dagi early to bed early to rise makes a man healthy wealthy and wise haibase takpiragala eozana but sigi lairiba thimse hairiba piklingai de takpiragala abane mental health sida early to bed early to rise makes a man healthy wealthy and wise haibane ba nganna tumbana nganna hagotpana nganna tumagadi nganna hagotkani thengna tumagadi thengna hagotkani adubu hoziki matamgi generation gi angang singda sigi wahaise just rhymes sa satkreba mamampa na haibi ba watleba thengna mamampa na masado kairori habi yengsan bideba phone pairibra tumibra tasengbadi parents su wai ko hozikti nupishu nupasu equality ki lifestyle sinani ko change lakpanina both of the parents are working parents that's why they don't contribute towards their children's matam pibangam deba time pibangam deba aduna shumaram oiba yai ko according to World Health Organization ki matung ina health haibase is a state of complete physical mental and social well-being ahum asida naina bayayeba physical haksang pharaba awaba leiroi mental pukning amasung brain and heart ki marak leiriba dilemma do control do bangamaba nungaina laigani last social being aigi nakta leiriba akoibado aina kamaina loinage aina kamaina aigi society to contribution tawge do adugi sigi ahumse if kairakpa matamda akoigi isada oiro akoigi life sida stressful life haibado adugi life laktoineba kariguma kansida akoigi atokpa aigi marupsinga pandiyeba pop stress lay angang machana stress hai aishu tasai aishu aigi students hai jagadra angang macha tuition thoksai adu moina haiba matha sai hingning de ga haiba yawiba pikli ba angang amana adu kai maram gino adu gi wahai se moi khangak pa natiba parents na ngang bado moina taraga haibane na haizaningi parents na nungai taba angang da utlaba matungda moina yenglaga moina su matung in bane na haizaningi problem amma se stress ni haibiya deba problem macha si bo khoina stress ni haina consider to gorgadi huge yamna depression du lakani na haizaninge post covid-19 lakjingai mamang da su aigi emotion se akoigi mental health se condition ani haibadi logically think tawba ma emotion na rule tawba ma akoigi mental na chala thabak tawri se haitare ko ai logically ma se real oidabra haina khalleba amana emotion ni ai si tawdragadi haidi depression tawbagi adugi do balance tawba darkar tayeba covid mamang da shu akoi ke dawi aigi emotion se mina rule taweba adu rule to handaba covid manung dana akoigi keno se akoigi mental emotion se individual emotion se emotion on thoki baneba. Normalizing the stress. Stress and normal. Natte. Stress and normal ni higher gadi problems idikay oidoino. Stress and normal ni higher pagini hauzik mental health problem issue sum hengala ise. Si higher gailo shinjaragi. Thank you.
That was indeed an eye-opening speech from Angela Razak. Now, may I have the pleasure to call upon Lamngan Bayumnam. Meanwhile, I would like to request Tenhoy Kipgen to be prepared.
Hello everyone. I wish everyone a wonderful good afternoon present today. I myself, Lamngan Bayumnam, representing Johnson Higher Secondary School, and taking this opportunity, I would like to share my points of views in today's theme, making mental health and well-being a global priority. So whenever we discuss about a topic, we come up with three questions: what, why, and how. What is about the problem, why is the causes, and how do we cope up, how do we solve that problem. So mental health, when we hear this word, people correlate it with a poor mental health. They take it in a negative sense in our society, in our times today. And it is really unfortunate. Mental health can be a good mental health as well as a poor mental health. However, people take and correlate it in poor mental health. When we know what is mental health, when we hear it, mental health refers to our emotional, social, and social well-being, and how we act on and how we react, how we act ourselves on any problems that we face. Maybe it is stress, maybe it is a problem or anything. So how do we differentiate between a good mental health and a poor mental health? Well, too much of we know that excess of everything is bad, and poor mental health is caused by excess of negative emotions that we keep inside in ourselves. And good mental health is emotions in which we cope ourselves in any conditions that we face in our day-to-day life. So what is poor mental health? Poor mental health is the condition in which we overthink ourselves, we create anxiety, stress, and we keep on thinking it in a negative sense instead of changing our mindset that we can improve from this definite thing, from depression. For example, like I failed my exam. So I keep on thinking, I failed my exam, I won't be able to do well, it's better to die. That's what the current mindset of our current generation, especially due to the pressurization of our society, that if you are bad, you are no longer a person worth living. That is what our society teaches. In fact, globally, the most percentage of poor mental health is being taken out by depression and anxiety, and people die of up to 800,000 people a year, and globally it has caused about 1 trillion economic US dollar of 1 trillion economic value due to the mental disorders. Unfortunately, although mental disorders has been increasing over the years from the 1900s to the 2000s, but our government globally, they only give out a budget of 2% to mental crisis on how to solve them. And it's really unfortunate. So how do we solve them? If we know what is mental health and why is it caused? It is caused, especially the poor mental health, is caused when we overthink ourselves, when we stress ourselves, when we extend the amount of negative effects in our emotions, we keep it in ourselves. When it bursts out, that is when poor mental health occurs. If we at the right time had tried to solve ourselves, and then we might have had a good mental health. So since we know why and how, since we know what and why, so let us go into how. In order to make our mental health a good mental health, we need to learn to share our emotions. We need to also learn to listen to others people's emotion on what we seek, on what they speak. We should not be judgmental. Our society, unfortunately, is judgmental and thinks that a person who has a psychological disorder or who has a poor mental well-being is taken as someone who is crazy. And if they are especially went to a psychiatrist, then no, they are a crazy person, they are no longer fit in this society. That's what our society teaches. But only when we aware ourselves and we teach our societies, especially all the younger generations, when we teach them that even though they have poor mental health, they are still a person, they are worth contributing to this nation, to this place, they also have a place in this society. When we teach them that, then we will be able to uproot this social stigma and only then we will be making a mental health and well-being society, and hence it will become it is globally a priority right now, since there's lots of poor mental health in current times. Thank you.
Thank you, Lamnganba. That was such an incredible speech. Now, moving on, may I have the pleasure to call upon Vidya Lakshmi Chingsubam from the Department of Manipur University. In the meantime, may I request Vikas Khairam to be prepared. I apologize. There was a jumble in the list. Actually, as the next contender, may I request Thanhoi Kipgen from the Department of Geography, Manipur University. And in the meantime, Vidya Lakshmi, please be prepared.
Whether an illness affects your heart, your leg, or your head, it's still an illness, and there is no exception, says Michelle Obama, the former First Lady of the United States of America. Greetings to all respected jury members and to all the audience present in the auditorium. This is Thanhoi Kipgen from Geography Department speaking on the topic, Make Mental Health and Well-Being for All a Global Priority. Ladies and gents, now think about this. What is the normal reaction you'll get when you tell people that you have a physical ailment? Say, for example, kidney failure. Most probably, they'll tell you to go to the doctor, get yourself treated without any judgment whatsoever. But will you get the same reaction if you tell them that you have depression, that you have panic attack, or that you have anxiety? I don't think so. Bill Clinton has said, mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of, but stigma and bias shamed us all. And this is unfortunately very true. Most people who have mental disorders or mental issues do not have the courage to speak up because of the stigma that surrounds mental illness and the prejudice that follows. So, forget the fact that they will get treated and they will get cured if they do not even have the courage to speak up, which is why mental health has become an issue which needs to be tackled. Now, there arises a question. Why make mental health and well-being a global priority? Why globally? Because Professor Saxena, who is a psychiatrist and a Harvard professor, said, when it comes to mental illness, almost all countries of the world are developing countries, which means that no country is developed enough when it comes to mental illness, and that they are still in the process of accepting mental illness as a mainstream illness at par with those of the physical illness. And according to studies, 1/3 of the countries of the world do not even have mental health policy or plan. This is the reason why we should make mental health and well-being a global priority, because no country is developed enough when it comes to tackling mental illness. Now, how? How can we as students, as citizens, and as teachers, professors can contribute towards making mental health and well-being a global priority? If you do not have the means or the capacity to create organizations that fosters mental health and well-being at a global stage, it's totally fine. And if you cannot have the platform to advocate and to speak for mental health and well-being at a global stage like the celebrities, you don't need to. What we as students, as professors, teachers, and citizens can do, the first step is that we have to accept that mental illness is an illness, like that of physical illness, without any judgment. And the second step is, if you are suffering from mental illness, then you need to speak up. You don't need to go through this alone. All you have to do is talk, just talk. And the second step is, if people approach you and they speak to you and they talk to you about their mental illness, then give them the platform to share. Give them emotional support. Give them that mental support without the fear of disclosure and without the fear of judgment. Last but not the least, I would like to conclude my speech with a quote from Dr. Veda, which says, "Mental illness is just as important as physical illness. You would not dismiss broken bones, so please don't dismiss broken minds." Thank you.
Thank you, Tanhoy. That was such a wonderful speech. Now, as the next contender, may I request Vidya Lakshmi Chingsubam from Manipur University to deliver her speech. In the meantime, I would like to request Vikas Khorom to be prepared.
Good afternoon, everyone here and respected judges. Let me speak my speech in Manipuri. There is a say, health is wealth, but now, without mental health, no health. Haiba wafam se khangbana maram oirakanda World Health Organization na make mental health haiba sina priority pira akanda thimmama oina bukhale pibam sutwe because of angang machadagi horaga ahan bhawagi level haibadi dismiss tawdraba siram dai bhawagi level sibauta hauji oina yamna nanara iba anaba se mental disorder asini aduga mental disorder na thokanba akogi suicide case si every 20 second khudingi pichribi gi global gi oina mi amamam pichribi se gi dismiss tawi aduga India gi oina su 2019 gi report ta 13,000 MUSU suicide tawi haina approx MUSU suicide tawi haina kuni report phangi duga 2020 dana plus 2000 plus toraga 15,000 approx hena suicide tawi haina koina report phangi karidamakta asigumlaba asu yamna hengala ibano masinga se masina maram oirakanda hengalapas na maram oirakanda World Health Organization na asigumlaba mental health habasina priority oina pukhalakpan mathangi next after COVID pandemic ta 25% Prithvi sida koi mental disorders anaba se hengale haina report phange World Mental Health to 2022 gi report matungina adugi phangba report na maram oirakanda psychiatrists doctors psychologists singna mathangi pandemic se after next pandemic will be mental pandemic haina warning piraba matam ne hojik se masi pibana maram oirakanda karidagi haraibano habase ai 3 types ta analysis toraga categorically thamjage first point ta angang macha habadi apik pa angang se global gi oina yengba matamda pikliba angang se chahi 10 to 14 years ki group ta leiba angang si sida mental disorders naba asi 4.1% nare habadi adugi matik nare haina Prithvi gi oina report phangi aduga adolescence ki matamda narakpa asina bipolar disorder aduga depressions anxiety aduga eating disorder nachingba aduga behavioral disorders mainly haiba singba singa se adolescence ki matamda create the hole behavioral disorder ki matang haiba matamda masina effect tawise angang duda nabada angang aduda nahalaka da moina effect tawise aikoida angang aduda criminalization ki wakhal form to halakpa aduga adolescence ki matamda education sta yamna disturb torokpa mo hele masigi anaba se Prithvi gi oina yengba matamda chahi 10 dagina 13 bawpo leiba sida nahaliba se 4.1 1% ni aduga chahi tara manga dagina tara mapan phobod laiba anaba sina 2.4%. Haiba anaba sing asi World Health Organization na khangbadagi ngasigi mental health na priority oina thimoy na pukhalakpani. Aduga suicide harm masana self harm tawjabasi chahi tara mangar deina 29 phawbagi levels da leading causes fourth leading cause se hojik phawbada orise masagi suicide tawjabagi fourth leading cause se masa mathanda mental problem oirakpasina oihale. Aduga second point da adult oirapa matamda mental problem na maram oirakanda drug uses aduki matik hengale drug ka mental problem ka aduki matik relate lainai. Masi relate lainaba na maram oirakanda drug seasonal like number 4 na singba alcohol na singba seasonarakanda sexual activities hengalakpa plus pin drinking tawrakanda gari thorakanda road accident hengalakpa na singba singse thole. Aduga third point ta ahal oirba matamda ha oiringai da lying hodaba plus macha masuna luna nushina tawbirakta na maram oirakanda alzheimer form taholakpa na maram oirakanda depressions na anaba mayam na hale. So mental health se koina gyan taminaba matam ore si haraga matang asida tension jage. Thank you.
That was such an excellent speech. Thank you, Vidya Lakshmi. Now, as the next contestant, may I request Vikas Korom to deliver his speech. He is from the Department of Mass Communication, Manipur University. In the meantime, may I request Learn Laishram to be prepared.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Vikas Korom. So I'm taking this opportunity to speak on mental health issues on this Mental Health Day. So that today, on this theme of making mental health and well-being for all a global priority. But like for my purpose here is to speak on what I have been through and what I did to cope up with it, and also mental health ki matang da wang I'm kind of freely with it, like. That's why I've been there, and to cope up to Raga, then I'm speaking here. So if it can impact anyone, or like a little effort with art, so that's my main thing. So first I'll share about my personal experience. So recently, 1.5 years, like no, it's 1.5 years. Lost already. Koma legidre kandu da hospital chatpagi journey daga haidi yam thina sinma gi tap daga thoga khoma na gi yenga amaga da ai shoulder daga legidab do oiba. That's my first thing. Second, I know life that ihana na theng bagi experience se just first memory se akho balai tab sineba kho balai tab se I was only 1.5 years ago that time. So this third thing se COVID now bagan da shu ai do yam kana COVID ki issues me am da issue she's now impact or mental health some issue kiba. See, I see how I don't want people to sympathize over these things. This is life. I accept already that death, mother death, father death, experience me. I don't want people to feel emotional. I accept already life though. So accept the positive things that started happening. So that's one thing that I want to share this. Then, so problem I'm told like kamana cope up and kind of help I would like to have these 3 points. First, the peer group support. I give close ones, friends support. If they were not there, like I give close ones with me, my friend circle, I won't be standing here talking about these things that's freely. So I see I give over both of these. Other problem like the thing I'm saying mental health problem. The shungang talk was freely. I want people to encourage it, because first I counseling or propaganda show. And the thing is, I do like society stigma I started consulting online consulting. But already I'm accepted over why would I go for online? I could go for offline, go to a doctor and everything. So that's one thing that I want to share. Then peer group support, family, friends ki support. Second thing is professional help support. Like I give friends, family, support. So if you don't take professional help, then it won't be much effective. So professional help because they are the ones who knows what the thing is, right? So depression, anxiety, everything. So making mental health and well-being for all a global priority. See, mental health to get delayed. I go for counseling, everything I've done. But one important thing that I've helped I belong to a bodybuilding family. My father used to be a bodybuilder. So I did gym chatpagi hinabishang So I have anxiety, depression, so I try to go to the gym. So hi na, first I fit or target shoe, wakal that's still a problem. But the thing is, if I in a gym chat bagi habit or it could be anything, physical exercise to bagi na bilay bro ko po iram tarashu. Adu do lay ram da target like adu do na main reason or that's what I'm saying. Well-being how about it? That's for me. I go to the gym. So adu do na help to organda like I'm standing here. Hoy anxiety aside so happy like there's no cure for that and everything. But I want to accept this like. I do anxiety or get out panic attacks and everything. I'm standing here, it's improving and everything. So ekdal is na enang di lairam na there's no other way kan khan budol. Adusu khalan ning den khansu khanbam thokten hare. Then adumaina gym gi support kumba ke kumba smile lai besna I do help da ka So problem mama lai bukanda we like mayam se na kham the society say we are more focused on this theory things and everything. So even theory doesn't depend on if there's a problem, why would I? Like problem to open that we will try to best. We should try our best to cope up with it. So I conclude. I smile and conclude that mental health is help us over it. It's important and saying how the smile problem that is shared over some important way. But the thing is, not targets openly may am the smile hide or smile I'm normal about one more in Masam. So that's the main issue that I'm talking. So I would like to conclude this. Making mental health and well-being for all a global priority is a must. And in the meantime, let's all love each other, let's support each other and build a better society, I think. Thank you everyone.
A huge round of applause for Vikas Koirom, everyone. We wish you success in all your future endeavors. Now, may I have the pleasure to call upon Lan Lystrom to deliver the speech. She is from the Department of Adult Education, Manipur University. In the meantime, may I request Kung Liang Liu Maren Mai to be prepared.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you? That's usually how we greet each other. How are you? And usually how we answer is, I'm fine, thank you. But actually, are we though? Am I? More often than not, the answer is we are not fine at all. And what do we do about that? When we're physically ill, we usually know what to do about that. So, for example, like jaundice hausikan pak na nana balay natin na trade na ko. But recently, when I had jaundice, like everyone knew what to do, what to eat, baya da ba kay hidakan na ba, like makhang na ba. But what about if someone had a panic attack? What about then? Akoy gi maraktagi mi kayano ba? Like how to handle the situation? Hay ba say khang doy say. But okay. What about if we don't have that information? Then what do we do? Ako'y nagkaigumba, person naman say like stroke symptoms or appendicitis pumalaga. So the first response we give is hospital chat let's say, doctor chat let's say, hi ba. So why does it not come to us normally to say, let's get professional help? See, so yam na luri sa kay but that's because we demonize mental illness. Mental illness, how's the like it's fear, it's stigma. Aduna. Unless we overcome that, we cannot make it a priority because a key ba to hanggoy ba to layering ay di changsan laga kamay na understand to doon ba kaya daw bay maruoy no sa kamay na hangdoy no ba we don't have that changning bagi adugi almado layite ba. So the first step to make mental health and well-being our priority or a global priority is to first stop demonizing mental illness. Separate the illness from the person. It's not the person. We have to realize that. And after that, the next step would be to understand why mental health and well-being is important. Like at the simplest form, at its core, mental health, aduga well-being. This is a filter through which all of our experiences, all of our reactions, aduga actions, is a filter like it just goes everything through that. Why we do things, how we do things, and why we choose to do them, this belongs. And this is because of our mental health and well-being. And then how do we take care of our mental health and well-being? The first step, okay, I think there is two main steps. The first should be to narrow the gap between those who have the resources and those who need the help. So there is a lack of open conversation. That's the first thing. Kay no man naharap pagkanda di naabado masada naaba na traga so dum khangnei ba kay lay nano kay main khangna bano ado when it comes to mental illness yam thina lotsan bagi hainabi ama leiba khoida doctor ama hangba matamda pukna bagi doctor ne haredi lambi da sorok tam pang hangang na ba yai ba but noi chedi na han ama counseling tong bagi appointment lo du kamai logi na hangba kanadi drug dealer gi information low way tap to way but like imung the kachin na tumin na kaino ma same ma fear ma guilt ama lay ba like adu to log talk tragedy how do we make it a priority? So we have to have open conversations, make the gap closer between those who have the resources and those who need it. Aduga second na mass awareness. How to help high-visibility professionals kumba adagidi like practicing medical professionals, they will know more. What we can do is be understanding, be there for them, and be open. Aduga, ako'y isa lagi haurakadabani ba everything. So that's what we can do. First, okay. So the best way to make our mental health and well-being our priority, I think, is it starts from us. First, to understand why it is a priority, and then to really excuse me. Okay, we can make mental health and well-being our priority by understanding why and doing our little best so that it can become a part of our normal life. Heidi, ing badanani haiba huilisalo haiba gidumaina. Like when it becomes as normal to us, that's when we can make it a priority for us and then for our country and then for our global, for our world. I think that's what's most important. Thank you. This has been Learn Live Stream so far.
Thank you, Lan Laishram. That was indeed an eye-opening speech. Now, as the next contestant, may I request Kung Liang Liu Myren Mai to deliver her speech. She is from the Department of Library and Information Services, Manipur University. In the meantime, may I request Laukrapam Hilary Chelu to be prepared.
Good afternoon, everyone, respected judges and everyone under this roof. From the very moment we open our eyes from a night's sleep, we all, as a student, as a teacher, as a girl, as a boy, as a mother, as a father, we all have that choice. We all have that decision to make, priorities to set up. While all these decisions, choices, and priorities that we make, that we take, brings results whether we want it or not, in a good or bad way. You know, at certain point of life, we all must have experience when life is so good, while we must also have experience how our life, how you cannot take control of the situation, or where we cannot take control over the outcomes of the situation, where we have to feel vulnerable and under lots of pressure. We all have the time when we have to handle stress. Mental health is not is the well-being of everything: emotions, social, spiritual, physical, and psychological state. I believe that being free from problems, anxiety, fears, doubts doesn't mean that we don't have mental health problems. No matter how young you are, how old you are, what gender identifies you, what denomination you are from, no matter what we are, how we are, mental health is everyone's business. I remember, as a child, I remember how I tried to grab the attention of my parents, especially my mother when she comes back from home, trying to tell her how I spend my day, what I eat in a day, and at the same time, how I ask of what she did in her day. You know, this later on, now I realize the importance of this innocent act of conversing. Many people around here, we are all stressed out, not just because of the pandemic, but maybe because of personal reasons, relationship problems, career, or maybe other problems, like there are many more. You see, what is behind that expression that you carry on your face? What is behind your smile? Is it joy, or is it a string of chaotic thoughts, or a version of you trying to hold back your tears? There are many people walking in the street, smiling at each other, or having a laugh with colleagues, while all we want to do is curl up in bed and cry. Who tends out to you? No one. But we all need that motivation that we have in itself. Everyone has his or her own story. There are many dark secrets. There are many untold stories that where we end up having suffered ourselves without opening up to others. You, I, as an individual, as a society, as a nation, we have a big role to play in our lives. Making mental health as a global priority starts only when we have the patience and understandings and cooperating what our dear loved and dear ones are going through right now. We need to have that concern for the people that we have around us. We are living in such a chaotic world. I know that, we know that. But as an individual, as a friend, we all need to take up the step. We have to remind ourselves that sharing more is, we need to have the ideology of sharing it than carrying it ourselves. No one is perfect, and we need to accept that imperfectness is what we are, who we are. Together, let us all learn to grow together, one step at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Kung Liang Liu Marin Mai. That was such a wonderful speech. Now, may I have the pleasure to call upon Lakrakpam Hilary Chanu from SK Women's College. In the meanwhile, may I request Ria Tongbam to be prepared.
Good afternoon, I'm Lakrakam Hilary Chanu, and for me, rather than talking about mental health, I would like to share my journey. Ever since childhood, I have had a huge responsibility on my shoulder, and not by anyone, it's just by myself. I have 4 siblings and all are females, and so every time we fight with neighbors, and it's very common in our society, and that's with my uncles, and every time they would tell my mother that she should be careful because she gives birth only to female, and that one day we will all go away and she will not have anyone to take care of her. And so my mother, she always warned us, she told us that we should be successful so that we can stand on our own. And so to me, I thought that crying was a symbol of weakness, because in our society people say, "Nupa na buka pra." So to me, crying was a weakness, and so I never cried until my 10th standard. I cried on the farewell day, and it felt good. And so I asked myself, why didn't I cry before? And then one depression, it started after I finished my 12th. I was selected to study in Italy in Casino University, but unfortunately, I couldn't get my visa because by the time I finished my 12th, the corona had started and everyone was suffering. And so I went to depression. My mother and father, they started arguing with each other that it was this fault, your fault, and later on they blamed me for not choosing my career well. And I remember it took me about 2 months to finally come out of that loophole. Every morning I'll get up around 10 or 9 a.m., eat lunch, go back to sleep the whole afternoon, get up around 4 or 5 p.m., sit alone and have all dirty, dangerous thoughts. And then later, and at the whole night, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I suffer from insomniac. And that's how. I don't know how did I deal with that, but I just remember one thing. I thought to myself, would everything be okay if I just end my life? That's what I felt. Finally, I came out to my parents, I talked to them, I asked my dad, why do I have to take science? I mean, I don't find any reason to why I should study the subject I don't like. And so now I'm doing my honors in history at SK Women College. I love my subject, I'm very happy. And again, I felt my worst decision that I've ever taken till today is when I decided to participate into pageants. Into beauty pageant. I started my journey with Miss Manipur recently on September 11th. I am not bragging, but I was one of the tough contestants they ever had, and I did not make it to top 10, and it was shocking for everyone else. And your friends are my friends. Manipur is small. I heard from people that it was because of my looks. I am a pretty confident girl, but that did destroy the confidence that I had built up 10 to 15 years. It took me to build that confidence, and with that just one word that I was not good looking enough, that I'm not worthy enough, everything went away. And again, I was in my bed again. I went back to my bed and I felt something very familiar. And that was, I knew that I'm going to fall down into depression again. That's when I told myself, Hillary, you're not going to fall this time. I clung onto my life and I pulled myself up. This time I told my parents, I talked to my sister, I told to my friends, and it felt good. I talked to them that it was unfair, that I felt unfair. Maybe they had some certain criteria, but I felt unfair. And so this is the reason why I'm coming out and talking to you. I think we all should normalize this. We all should be free to tell what we really want. And that is important. For every certain small reasons, if you are extremely depressed, you can go to a psychiatrist that can help you, or a counselor. But I think the small problems, we can talk to our friends, and that did help me a lot. And to all my debate team who are here today, thank you so much. You guys don't know how much you have helped me. And with all the courage, I participated in Miss Augury, and I was crowned as the first runner-up. I met people who truly knew me and who truly supported me for my personality and talent that I had. And also, I started falling in love with the art of public speaking, with the art of debate. And that's how I'm here today. I want to share my story, not just talk about how to cope with mental health. For me, it was easy. I started talking out. I didn't hide everything to myself. I don't want to pretend to be the good girl who keeps everything to herself. I want to talk out. If you feel unfair, talk out. If you want to cry, just cry. And it's okay. It's completely okay. There are no rules that men should not cry. There are no rules that women should keep everything inside, that she should carry all the burden by herself. And so today's Mental Health Day, we have this very theme to make our mental and social well-being a global priority. And so I want to normalize mental health so much that people should come and ask you how you are doing, just like how they ask you when you meet an accident. I want mental health to be so normalized, because every mental health is just as threatening as any other life disease or injury. So thank you.
Thank you, Hilary Chanu. That was such a powerful and eye-opening speech indeed. Now, may I have the pleasure to call upon Ria Tongbram to deliver her speech. She is from Maria Montessori School. In the meantime, may I request Apanba Kuman from DM College of Science to be prepared.
Mental health is not a destination but a journey. It is a journey which accompanies us with sacrifices and challenges, coordination, cooperation among the society. A wonderful morning to everyone present here, respected jury members, my fellow participants and the audience. This is Ria Tongbram, a student of Maria Montessori School, currently studying class 10. And today, I have been given the rare opportunity and privilege as I stand here to give a speech on the theme of mental health and making mental health and well-being a global priority for all. I would first like to start off by saying how important mental health is and well-being is. And across the whole race, mental health and well-being has become one such thing of great concern. We should realize that mental health and well-being is as much as important as that of physical health. Such reasons why we neglect towards mental health and do not have a lot of concern is the reason why across of times, across the decades, there has been increasing cases of mental health all across the globe. One such instance is given by the World Health Organization reports, which stated that across the years from the time period of 1994 till that of 2014, there has been an increasing rate of mental health issues all across the globe. And one such example was that of 20% increase in the common health issues faced by people. These are the sort of things and evidences which show us how the society has neglected and they have the lack of concern regarding issues of mental health. And this is a sad reality that we have to accept. We should realize that many people among the victims do not want to tell their things about mental health issues. They do not openly share these things because of the fear that they might be discriminated, they might be judged. Because this is the stigma, this is a taboo that we have, that mental health is something which is not as much as important as that of physical health. We should realize that mental health can happen to any one of us. It's something which is not limited to a certain gender or to an age group. It is something which is widely spread because mental health is something which is inside ourselves. Being good for mental health is something which happens if we are happy in a happy environment from our peers. But then if we are having some mental issues, it's not just because of certain things like you are rich or because of you have bad influence. It can be a lot of causes and concern. So factors which may be included in the causing of mental health issues can be because of financial problem or economic status of a family of the person. Another factor which can be over there is because of discrimination, deprivation of education, and other important factors as well in the advanced issues and all those such things. Now we can also consider certain things such as that of feeling loneliness and not being able to confer and talk about what they feel to the people around them and to close people. So these are the causes which may lead to mental health issues. But what we should realize over that is that effects of mental issues can lead to anxiety as well as tension, nervousness, OCDs, and a lot of behavior problems. But the most important thing I would like to say, the cause of mental issues is because of the lack of education among the society. The lack of education, the lack of knowledge and awareness that mental health issue is something which is normal for everyone. We can cope through it and that you are not alone. And this is one certain thing which is lacking in the society. We do not have concern regarding this, and which is one of the main reasons why such issues is arising from a long period of time. We should realize that mental health is more important than the physical health, as I would say, because mental health is the base root of everything. No matter how much a person may look happy and healthy from outside, until and unless he's mentally stable, he's emotionally stable, his mental health is okay, it's of no use. The particular person will still be suffering some internal as well as emotional injuries. We should realize that mental health is more important because mental health is the one which will lead to the physical health. If we are not having a proper stable mind, then we might not be able to perform things properly and do tasks properly, and at the long period of time it may lead to a lot of detrimental effects. Not only will it affect physically, for example we might have behavior, eating problems and all those such things, but it will also affect the people around us. And this is the reason why it is the high time for us to realize to make mental health and well-being a global priority for all. Let's all bring a change and make mental health and well-being a global priority. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ria. That was such a powerful and incredible speech indeed. Moving on, as the next contestant, I would like to request Apanba Kuman to deliver his speech. He is from the Physics Department from DM College of Science. In the meantime, I would like to request Kundrakpam Nirsana to be prepared.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Apanba Kuman from DM College of Science. Many of us must have heard the phrase, it's okay to not be okay, right? Just because we are not doing well doesn't mean we have to act like everything is fine, because it is not good, it is not wrong. It is wrong to not feel good mentally. And every year we observe the World Mental Health Day on 10th of October. And by mental health, we mean the state of our mental well-being that enables us to cope with the stresses of life, realize our abilities, learn well and work well, And mental health is pivotal for the growth, not only growth, development and the productivity of the society. And what I wanted to say is that during high school, I've encountered several bullies. And, well, not actually those bullies which, and not extreme bullies type, but those who find pleasure in teasing others. And it continued for like 2 years or so. So what I did was I changed my school. With a new environment and new friend circle, it felt way much better. So if I had continued in that school for the rest of my high school, then I would have had a drastic impact on my mental health right now. So the risk of mental health during the early childhood especially is that it is very harmful in the long run. And this may include like harsh parenting, punishment, or even bullying. And according to WHO, the age group, the adolescents age group, they suffer, like 1 in 7 of the adolescents age group, they suffer from mental illness, and the leading causes are depression, anxiety, and behavior disorders. And sorry. So mental health can affect everyone. Like it is no matter how old or how rich or irrespective of the residence where they live in, it can affect everyone. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, we all know it has caused a lot of crisis on everyone. And according to WHO, it is estimated that there's a rise in more than 25% of both anxiety and depressive disorders. So what's the reason behind this? Well, during that time, everything is shut down. So the mental health services they need were all disrupted, and the treatment they required were also, they didn't get the required treatment properly. And from a cultural perspective, in India especially, the society, they have a lot of stigma and discrimination regarding when it comes to like mental illness, right? And as per the National Mental Health Survey conducted on 2015 and 2016, it is found that the number of persons with mental illness in Manipur was 1,500. And on the national level, it is 15,363, if I'm not mistaken. So what strategy can we adopt to overcome these situations, to these mental issues? Well, to name a few, creating mental health awareness like today is a must. And we must, with this awareness, everyone, especially me, I'm from the physics department, so before I have no clue about mental health awareness programs. So when I came across this awareness program because of the psychology department of MU, so I researched some from the internet, and I get to learn a lot. I get to know more about mental health just from preparing a simple speech. And I don't have plans on winning or not winning this competition, but the research which I have done regarding this awareness program, I have learned a lot, I would like to say. So that's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Apanba Kuman, for the delightful speech. Now, as the next contestant, I would like to request Kundrakpam Nirshana Devi. She is from the Department of Earth Sciences, Manipur University. In the meantime, I would like to request Sanskriti Sinha to be prepared.
So, if you take care of your mind, you take care of the world. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kundrakpam Nirsana Devi from Department of Earth Sciences, Manipur University. So, health. According to the World Health Organization, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of diseases or infirmity. So, for a person to be healthy, mental well-being is an important necessity. So, what is mental health? The World Health Organization conceptualizes mental health as a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to contribute something to his or her community. When we are mentally healthy, we are at our best levels. The obstacles in our lives become easier to overcome. And if we stop and ponder how many of us really fulfill the criteria of being mentally healthy, I would say more than 50% of us present here does not fall in the category of mentally healthy individual. And why is it so? We'll have to think about it. Experiencing stress is normal as a human being, and in every sphere of life there is going to be some physical, mental, or emotional pressure. We can't stop them from happening, but what we can do is to learn to cope with it. The development and the quality of men's life depends on 4 main factors, that is psychological, physiological, sociological, and occupational factor. And these factors are all interconnected with one another. Let us see what is psychological factor. It involves our thoughts and emotions, and when this psychological wellness is affected, it causes hormonal or chemical changes in our body, which leads to physiological ailments or disruptions. And not only this, it leads to the feelings of anxiety, frustration, anger, or even depression, and which causes negative behavior, and it also compromises in our relationship with others, thus hindering our sociological factor. And if we are mentally not well, we are not able to perform or work efficiently or provide quality work. And thus, when our mental well-being prospers, our quality of life improves. The notion of mental health has always been underestimated, and the stigma against the mental health illness is still very powerful due to the lack of education. According to the National Mental Health Survey of 2016, about 14% of India's population need active mental health intervention, and roughly 56 million of Indians suffer from depression, and 38 million suffer from some anxiety disorders. And not only this, every year about 2 lakhs Indians take their own lives, and the statistics are even more if we count the numbers of attempts to suicide. So the numbers are alarmingly high, and there is a requirement for the global upsurge of this topic. Mental health problems are caused by various factors, including biological, such as the genes or the brain chemicals, or it is also caused by life experiences such as trauma or abuse. Mental illness is wound. It is thousands of wounds inflicted on already existing ones. Just because we don't see them does not mean it is not there. We have to consider it. We need to increase the number of people with whom one can open up because they feel secure. We need to take care of the mental well-being of one another and make it a global priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirsana. That was such a remarkable speech. As the next contestant, may I request Sanskriti Sinha. She is from the Department of Foreign Language, Manipur University. In the meantime, may I request Savitri Devi to be prepared.
Good afternoon to everyone present here. I, Sanskriti Sinha, from the Department of Foreign Language, pursuing my bachelor's in Korean Language and Studies, is here to share my views on mental health and its well-being, making it a global priority. What is mental health? Mental health is a state of well-being when an individual realizes his or her own capabilities to cope up with the stresses of life. It includes emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Unfortunately, it is surrounded by a lot of stigmas. This is what Google defines as mental health. Now, before moving forward, let me recite a short example from my own experience during my school days. There was this girl in our class. I swear I have never seen her doing anything but laugh all day. She was tall and smart, beautiful and strong. And whenever anybody feels low and gloomy, she was always ready to fix it for them. Few days passed and she then didn't come to our class. And the very next day we got to know that she is no longer among us. Turns out that the scratches she told that she got from her cats were actually her silent battle she was going through, which nobody was aware of. Battles. That's what it is taught to us now, that life is a battlefield and we all are the warriors. The one who overcomes all the obstacles through thick and thin is the ultimate successor, or in the other word, winner. Everybody have their own respective battles to win. Somebody fight it against the world and somebody fight it against their own self. But when an individual fight a battle against their own self, that's when the birth of mental illness takes place. It is one of the most dangerous one too. Because the fight you fight against the world is transparent and visible, but the fight you fight against your own self is just too opaque to be visible enough. According to the statistics, the growth of mental illness has taken place among the youth these days. Around 30.6% of the youth between the age of 18 to 25 years are suffering through this. If we go in the depth of it and find the initial causes of it, they are the stresses because of their career and studies, the unemployment level, or somebody has gone through a severe past traumas. In this millennium era, we are too busy to sit and listen to someone, as well as nobody is ready to talk about it, as we are so consumed with the fact of making ourselves and represent it as a perfect human being that we tend to forget Alfred Adler's famous quote, "Have the courage to be imperfect." This illness can actually come up with many issues in oneself, like depression, panic attack, anxiety attack, or suicidal thoughts when one couldn't just make through it. Still, we have to confront our own illness without fearing and neglecting it. There are many ways to cope up with it, because healing is a long time process. It takes time to recover, as it cannot be done overnight. Breaking the silence and coming up and seek for treatment can be one of the best possible way you can help yourself. Don't let this illness create a self-doubt and shame within. Seeking counseling and helping yourself and educating yourself about your own situation can actually help you gaining self-esteem. Don't equate yourself with illness. You are not an illness. So instead of saying, I am bipolar, say, I have bipolar and I am ready to work on it. Therefore, I would like to conclude my speech by saying that making mental health and its well-being the global priority will actually give access to people who is suffering from this insanity to come up and talk about it, as well as it will spread the awareness too. As it is said by Dean Ornish, awareness is the first step in healing, isn't it? Therefore, educating others about it will also make a huge difference. Lastly, I would like to thank the Department of Psychology for coming up with such a cardinal topic on this World Mental Health Day 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanskriti. That was such an astounding speech. Moving on, I would like to request Savitri Devi to deliver her speech. She is from the Department of Foreign Language, Manipur University. In the meantime, I would like to request Alina Kondombam to be prepared.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. I'm Savitri from the Department of Foreign Languages, present before you to deliver my speech. As already discussed many times by my friends present here, mental health is the mental well-being of a person that enables him to cope up with the difficulties of life, learn his abilities, and contribute to the society as a whole. And wellness is the optimal functioning and experiencing of a person, and it is revolving around two distinct philosophies, hedonism and eudaimonism. Hedonism is a subjective concept where one tries to escape from the reality or pain by seeking pleasure, and eudaimonism is an objective concept where one tries to realize his potential and purpose in life. So speaking about it, what are the factors that are leading to mental illness? The factors are innumerable, but let me tell you one simple root cause of the situation. When one fails to handle a particular situation, it makes him feel uncomfortable. And that sense of uncomfortable feeling continues to get accumulated, and at one final point of time, boom, it is stress. Stress is real and it is part of everyone's life. In India, 50% of the population are aged below 25 years, and according to a survey that has been conducted in 22 different countries, Indian youth are least likely to seek help for mental health care issues. Mental health care issues and depression is not being talked about in open, and more than 300 million people are falling prey to it. Extreme depression causes damage to the part of the brain that processes emotions and feelings, and the dopamine production gets affected, and the whole body finds it hard to cope up or to handle the negativity. The recent survey by WHO proves that India has been listed as one of the world's depressing countries in the world, where there is 25% increase in the number of depressed persons in our country, according to the survey taken in 2020. The reason for the aforesaid situation is that 70% of the people who have been classified under mental illness are still not under treatment. There are gaps present in governance, information, and service that is not spread equally across the country. Across the globe, the mental health care needs are high, but the responses are inadequate and insufficient. In India, on a daily average basis, 418 deaths by suicide have been recorded, and 152,053 people have committed suicide in the year 2020, according to the National Crime Records Bureau. So we need to understand that mental illness is also related to poverty, and in the magnitude, speaking of the magnitude of substance in India, 2.9 crore people are dependent or addicted to alcohol, and 7 lakh inhalants in children have been recorded, according to a report in 2019. So it is also important to note that people who have severe mental illness also have shorter lifespan. So it is a high time that we have realized that there is no health without mental health, and proactive measures need to be taken in this area, such as efficient governing, political commitment, advocacy, and public awareness about the mental health care programs. So if we look into the countries that have better mental health care facilities, they are Finland, Germany, and Scotland, where there is proper work-life balance, and the capital invested by the country towards the mental health care of the people is comparatively high. And it is believed that people who are kind and generous are more satisfied with their lives and have better mental and physical health and have stronger relationships. So the happiness that we receive by giving others creates a positive feedback loop. The more you give, the more happy you feel. So positive psychology aims at studying how the people and communities flourish. So I would like to end my speech saying that kindness is one of the simplest way to tell another suffering human being that there is love to be found in this world. And we all have so much love in our hearts, right? So let's give some of that love to ourselves instead of being so hard on ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Savitri, for the excellent speech. Now, moving on as the next contestant, I would like to request Alina Kundongbam, hailing from UNACO School, to deliver her speech. In the meantime, I would like to request Tiken Thangnausam to be prepared.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Elina Kongdongbam, studying in UNACO School Maitram, would like to give some of my point of view to this wonderful occasion of World Health Day. Mental health, where do we start? We have already heard lots of things about mental health right now already. Mental health, it can affect an individual's thought, behavior, feelings. It has been observed that depression has more effect than physical injury itself. Even science has studied this in a various way and proven this. Well, mental health is very severe in such a case. We have heard lots of causes, how it has been arise, how has been happened, how has depression happened. But for me, in my speech, I would like to talk about three main important things that we can focus and cure this mental illness and make everyone all around the world make mental health a global priority. The first one is spiritual health. Spirit is all in us. Spirit is not a part of the body, it's not a part of the mind, it's all with us. It affects in one and all. It affects one and all. If one part is effect, like when you are not physically ill, how can you be mentally perfect? You are physically ill, you can't never be mentally perfect. That's how spiritual health help us. And some examples of how to be spiritually healthy is being kind with others, building, establishing, and respecting other personal boundaries. Establishing and communicating clearly is how we can achieve this spiritual health. Second, we come with social health. Social health is how we show people how we are, how we act, how we do, is what a social health is. And we all know that we never show what we truly are to people. We always keep our secrets and darkness into inside. We don't ever want to people to suffer how we have been suffered before. That's how a social health works. Now, the third part is physical health. Physical health is also very important. With the 2 points I have mentioned before, now we have come to physical health, the most important part. When you are physically not well, how can you mentally be fine? When you are not physically fine, you cannot say that you are mentally fine. So it's very important to keep these three in mind. And if we start keeping these three in mind, we can really make mental health world global priority. Well, I want to ask some of our audience judges also. Have you ever cried alone in the room and somebody knocks and about to come in, you wipe your tears and you make your face, it's like nothing happened. If you have ever been in this kind of situation, please raise your hand. Lots of people have raising their hands. See, this is how we have always been. We always hide that we are suffering from very tough situation. We always make others see that we're doing fine. However, when people ask us, how are you? How are you, judges, today? How are you feeling? We always say that I'm fine, I'm doing great. Is it really true? How are you, judges? How are you? Please answer me. How are you feeling today in this very big occasion? We have discussed lots of things. Nice, very nice answer from our judges. I wish all of you could have heard it, what our judges said it. And I want to ask you another question. Please raise your hand if it is true and it ever experienced with you. When we ask, like, what happened to us? And people will always say, people who have been through depression, they will say that having anxiety and depression is not just being sad and tired, it is being scared and tired at the same time. It's having tiredness, it's having scared and all. So I want to conclude my speech asking, have you ever felt that you're worthless in your life, in your ever life? Have you felt that you are so worthless that I want to end of my life? Have you? Okay, so if you have ever felt worthless in your life, please remember that you were born a winner.
5 minutes.
Thank you and have a pleasant day ahead.
Thank you, Alina, for the excellent speech. Moving on, as the next contestant, I would like to request Tiken Thaunausam from the Department of Physical Education and Sports Science, Dhanamandjari University. In the meantime, I would like to request Gracilia to be prepared.
Imagine your best friend committing suicide. And it shocks you because he always seems to be happy and so carefree. And he never mentioned that he was feeling sad and he was feeling down. I am Tiken Thaunausam, and I'm here today to bring more sunlight, more openness, and more unashamed conversation on mental health. To those who are struggling, I want each one of you to know that you don't have to suffer in silence. Now, let me tell you a short story about a girl named Imani Boyet. She was raped at a young age of 10, and she even tried to commit suicide at the time. It was the darkest moment of her. She had no one to talk to, nowhere to go, and she was left all alone. The only thing in her life was basketball. Through her love for basketball, her angel came, her coach, Karen Ashton. She helped to fight this mental trauma by listening to her and by providing her with therapists, which ultimately gave her the purpose in life to be strong and be a successful person in the future. So now, she is a professional basketball player in the NBA. She realizes that the timely help given by her coach was of great help and was a life-changing one. So she wants others to get that kind of support, and so now she is also a prominent activist. And she wants to make mental health and well-being for all a global priority. Now, following her footsteps, here are some ways to promote mental health locally as well as globally. Number one, by just talking about it. Now, let me ask a personal question to you all. How many of us here have talked to your mom and to your dad about their burden that they are carrying, about the situation? And I think that most of us have not talked to our parents in a long time in this matter. And I must say, mental health awareness starts from home. So let's talk more about it in this matter and make them believe and make them think that there are resources available around them that can help them. And number two, by opening up about our experience. If you have struggled or you are struggling right now, share your stories with others, because knowing that someone has gone through the same situation as mine can be of great relief, and they can provide you with a great lot of information and knowledge about mental health. Number three, let's normalize counseling and therapy, because there's still a lot of misconception that only mentally unstable people go to a psychologist and seek therapy. Personally, I have experienced people saying to me, like, if a girl is undertaking treatment undertaking treatment by Dr. LENIN, then she is crazy and you should not marry her. I have some experience about that, and I think it should be abolished. And number four, as a physical educationist, I have learned that regular exercise can help ease anxiety and depression by releasing a feel-good endorphins and specific chemicals into our brains that can enhance our sense of well-being. And I must say, let's promote physical health for mental health. And my last point, as social media is quite popular now, by just posting about mental health and the knowledge, we can create a sense of awareness. And lastly, it is my opinion that mental health should be kept priority above everything else, because even though if you have everything in your life, like wealth, richness, a good family, a good body, and a good and beautiful wife, but if you are suffering from mental health and you are suffering from mental illness, then everything will deteriorate in front of your eyes. So I must say, let's make mental health a topic to be discussed widely in our society, in our schools and colleges, so as to create a sense of awareness and to create a society free from mental illness. So everyone, I also want to remind you that let's abstain ourselves from drugs and alcohol. So instead, open your situation to others, because we're all here to help you all. And remember, there can be no health without mental health. Thank you for listening to my speech, and have a pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiken, for your wonderful speech. It was eye-opening indeed. As we move on, I would like to request Gracilia Ningthaujam from the Department of Chemistry, Manipur University, to deliver her speech. Gracilia Ningthaujam. Is he present? I guess he's not present here. So I would like to request the next contestant, that is Rengam JV. He is an independent, self-employed man hailing from Chandel district, to deliver his speech. I got mixed up again. Since Gracilia Ningthaujam was absent, I was supposed to call Samurai Latpam Krishnakanta Sharma. Once again, I would like to request Samurai Latpam Krishnakanta Sharma to deliver his speech. I guess both the contestants are not present here, so I would like to have the pleasure to call upon Rengam JV. A big round of applause for Rengam JV. He is our last contestant, everyone.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, respected judges, my dear lovely brothers and sisters. I was just here to learn, because this is my first time knowing about this event, and I was really tired. I didn't sleep properly, but my friend told me that he already gave my name to be a part of the contestant. But here I present to you myself. I'm not here to participate. I'm not a contestant. I'm just here to share what I have. So according to what I have learned, I'm not a well-educated person, but though my learning is light, in book to read is my delight. And from what I've learned, men have the highest rate of suicidal rate in the world. Talking about taking a name, let's say Susan, he's very famous, successful, he has lots of money, but why? We can ask this question. So we have been influenced through social medias, and there are no proper education about mental health. And I think that it's the right time to take action, to educate ourselves, to love ourselves. We have been taught men to be hard, like men shouldn't cry. You don't be gay, like calling stuff. Even my friends, when I cry, I had a breakup, so I did cry. And they told me that men shouldn't cry. So that's what I've learned. But we forgot that it's the hard things that break easily. So I remember this Bruce Lee's saying that be like water, my friend. And not all are born fit and healthy. Being born fit and healthy is already an asset. The world is a gift, and what we put up is the digestion of that gift. So I'm fit and healthy, so I thank God for that. So for those unprivileged people, the first thing is having a purpose in life. Without a purpose, we will just die, like a drop of water thrown out of the ocean. So if you're lost, if you're lonely, if you're sad, if you don't know where you were here on this earth, I would let you know this thing. For example, I have a smartphone. If something goes wrong, it goes back to the repairing center. They made it. So it goes back to the center, the repairing center. So if a person is sad or lonely or broken, God made us. So we should ask God the question, why and how. And I'm sure I cannot give you all the answers, but I'm sure God can give you that. With that few things, I would like to end my speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rengam, for the wonderful speech. With this, we have come to the conclusion of the speech competition that is being done by the Department of Psychology in collaboration with all the MUSU and all. So, moving further, for the event, I would like to request Adiri Senior from Department of Psychology, Yumnam Ronnie, to deliver the vote of thanks. I would like to request all of the audience gathered here to please wait as we announce the results of the speech competition.
Good afternoon, teachers, and good afternoon, everyone. Ngasigi World Mental Health Day, yamna productive oiraba, yamna nungairaba, knowledge kayana thallaba, kaya ma share for tawbiriba, tawkraba, mafam asida aina mayambu ikoknona khurumjari, amadi aina mayambu thagatpa phongdoksari ihan hanbada aina aikhoigi Sir Vice Chancellor Professor N. Lokendra Singh VC Manipur buyam thagat pa phongdoksari aikhoibu cooperate tawbiduna mafam asida aikoina program asi pangthokpada mapung phaunaba hotnabada mateng pangbiba aikhoiba cooperate phajana tawbibagidamakta sir buyam thagat pa phongdoksari amadi ngasigi numit asida khoigi daista lengshin pikraba akoigi Dr. Sir R.K. Lenin, Professor and Head Psychiatry, RIMS IMPHAL, Founder Share and Care, Wangkai, Ningthem Pukrimapal, Sir Bui, as the Chief Case Oina, Sir Buyam Thagat Papungdoksari, Madi Sharna, Share to Wikraba Koida, love yourself, the giddy have confidence, say good things about yourself, caring of the caregiver, haiba, and each one of us should be transitor of the positive vibes, haiba, koi positive sandokadabani, haiba, amadi mental illness and treatment, say, ekoigi choice the late, haiba, masi se narak pataragadi, ekoina chatpigadabani, haiba, wafam, ade coping skill legadabani, haikiba, adegidi, akoina counselor, professional help low with the ikai roidabani, low gadabani, haiba, wafam panbikiba, adegidi, akoina exam stress satra ma oina exam stress thingnabado thingnadanaba aikoina nungtigi oina maintain tawraga lairik pabagi habit laigadabani haikiba punctuality maintain tawgadabani haiba wahai phachakraba haikiba aduga aikoigi brain se limitless oiba haiba wahai asi yam phajana panbikiba aduna sir bu yam thagachari sugumba valuable oiraba wahai kaya sina aikoida su panchinjaraga apply tawsilaga tungda su hena kanaba kaya pubirakpa yanaba mathangda aikoigi Professor W. Chan Babu Singh, Registrar, Manipur University, Guest of Honor gi Hamlang the Lengshin Bikiba, Sarna Su Mamalay Raba Wahikea, share to Biduna, Aikoi the Mamalay Raba Wahikea, Fongdok Biduna, Ikobugan, Budi Loshing Happy Kiba, Cooperate to Bikiba, Yam Tagat Pongdok Sari, Adagi, Amathanga, Samem, Akoigi, Psychology Department, Assistant Professor, Ikobu Takpi Tambirakpa, Ikobu. Lamjing Biba, Mem Ashem Babina Devi, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychology, MU, President Gi Pampam Lang the Lengshin Bikiba, Yamna, Mem Busu Yamna Tagat Pongdok Sari, Mardi Memna Share to Bikiba, Ekogi, student Gi life Gimaramda, Kogi career Gimaramda, Adegi academic career, self improvement Haiba. Akoi ishana isha knowing self haiba sigi maram da share to bikiba membu yam thagachari ekoi da gyan budi loksing yamna oije aduna masina ekoi da su hena tungda kanaba phangba oijage haiduna membu hana hana thagata phongdoksari mathangda ekoi gi oja singh mem premika just ki phampham lang da lengshin bikraba mem dina membu mem yam thagatpa phongdoksari mem hoina ekoi I'm sorry before I didn't introduce myself. I Ronnie Yumnam Psychology Department da 4th semester loijakre adu madam Singi Lamjing Makada Ngasigi organization Ngasigi observation asida Saruk Yaba Pangjabani Membu Hana Thagachari Amadi Mem Hoina Kwebukut Paidona Takpi Tambirakpa Aikoina Tung Dasu Madugi Lambi adu da chatpa ngamduna mem hoigumna hena afaba mi ma oinaba hotnaba ngamjage haiduna hana thagatpa phongdoksari amadi ngasigi party skit tobi khraba skit aduna programmatic aduna hiding liba khogi different roles ta a modern family modern scenario sida khogi mental health sina family amada macha singda kayamna impact laiba haibado takiba aduna influence aduna satragi health to the kayam influence haina takiba skit aduna kaya amada mit mai pangduna aikoina mu yumda halaga chatuna societies da henba afaba do sandoktuna positive vibes ado sandoktuna hena mental health se hena phanaba hotnamada mating pangminanabada skit aduna ikhoibu mit mai panghalle haidona hana skit ki timbu thagatpa phongdoksari that was played by first and second year of Manipur University Psychology Department and makoibu hana thagachari mathangda angasigi speech competition da lakpi khraba nungairaba speech experience kaya phongdok pikraba life history kya testify to bikraba yam thagachari aikoi so anoba kaya ma khangba ngamjei madudagi su hena khangba ngamba oijage mafam sidagi su hena khangaga ningsingjari aduga aikoigi collaboration aduga lakpiriba student singa lakpiriba parents guardians mayamusu yamna thagatpa phongdoksari adagi aikoigi pulap asisin balangbada mateng pangbikhraba aikoigi MUSU Manipur University Student Union 2021-22 MUSU busu yamna ikokno na thagatpa nolukna thagatpa phongdoksari Thangda aikoigi teammates aikoigi arrangement asida sinbi langbi khraba Krishnananda amadi mahaki team sing yamna thagatpa phongdoksari makoina phajana arrangement tawiba light sound mic pull-up ase arrangement tawiba da mating pangwiba yamna thagatpa phongdoksari mathangda assessment team da mayambu free assessment skill pibiduna mayam da aware ohenbiba personality kaino self esteem kaino amadi adjustment kayam wangi haiba anxiety gyam lei haibagi maramda kayama assess tawduna takpi khraba mayambu hana thagatpa phongdoksari matha food stall oina hangbiduna leibiriba aigi psychology gi teams yam thagatpa phongdoksari athangda Pony TV and entertainment media gi lamda ekoigi wahai wata asibu mental health ki importance asibu mayam da yauhan bibagi damakta aware oihan bibagi damakta yam thagatpa phongdoksari Mami TV thagatpa phongdoksari Manipur University Health Center Dr. Pinky and her team yam thagatpa phongdoksari masiga loinana aina loishinjaningbadi Marcus Aurelius na haikiba our life is what our thought make of it haibado aduda haijaningi adubo aikhoigi wakhal sina aikhoise karino haibado oihalakpani aduduna aikhoigi wakhal mental health ase yamna important oi masi yamna aikoina chection ba darkar oi wakhan khanbadagi hongna nare e nungai raktre habadi we should seek help aikoina help hangbase aikhoigi weakness na te si se aikhoigi strength oi doine aduduna aikoi pulapna hena afaba society hena mental health ta chau pa hena afaba mental health ama purakna hena afaba generation ama purakna ba hona mina se habaga loinana matang asida losinjari. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheroni. As we move on further, we have come up to the last event of our function today, that is the prize distributions. Now, I would like to have the pleasure to call upon our dearest jury members, Ma'am Dina and Ma'am Pramika, to kindly hand over the certificates and the cash prizes. A big round of applause for our jury members, everyone. In today's speech competition, the first place has been won by none other than Ria Tongbram from Maria Montessori School. A big round of applause from Ria Tongbram, everyone. Thank you, Ria, for participating in this event. We wish you success in all your future endeavors. And in the second place, we have Kundrapam Nirsana Devi from the Department of Earth Sciences, Manipur University. A big round of applause from Kundrapam Nirsana, everyone. Thank you, Nirsana, for participating. We wish you success in all your future endeavors. And in the third place, we have Tannoy Kipgan from the Department of Geography, Manipur University. A big round of applause for Tannoy Kipgan, everyone. Thank you, Ma'am Dina and Ma'am Pramika. With this, we have come to the conclusion of our event today. Thank you everyone for participating. Thank you. And those who have participated will be given a certificate of participation. It can be collected from the entrance. Thank you everyone. Have a pleasant day.